Hey guys, welcome to Project Transformation. This is our 10th week, and we are in a very interesting phase of this project. We have 2 more weeks to go, and it's kind of coming down to the wire. Instead of like showcasing the workouts, which we have been showcasing in the past episodes, we're going to be going over some issues that I've been having or encountering as we've been sort of exposing some of the things, the mishaps. I missed a couple of things in the previous episode. I'm in a really good place, and Yelena and I are working really hard again to just be as transparent as we possibly can and letting you know exactly how this goes, what I'm feeling on a day-to-day basis, the changes that we've made when it comes to the increase in the weights and the decrease in the reps and increase in the sets. It's really interesting. But this is episode 10, Project Transformation. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.
I'm gonna give a little bit of background how everything kind of like started, and so when we met, I didn't know what Chris's background in terms of fitness and stuff. I questioned his muscles that he was showing on some pictures, and he said he always had them genetically gifted. And but because I assess people, I can look at their face and I can look at their body, and I know exactly what's wrong with them, right? I didn't realize that he had not been to the gym at all. So his experience was completely zero, and not completely zero, but not enough, not as much as some of my clients that come in. And but then when he told me that he is in film, and because we developed this friendship relationship, I offered him this project, right? I go okay, Chris, would you be up for it? And he took the project, okay? So that's how we came up with all of this idea. Now, talking about me and my business and my relationship with my clients, there is this thing called readiness level. So let's say readiness level is here somewhere, right? And from the this is when people do not know that this is the people that do not know they need any help or don't want to have any help, didn't have any experience at all, but then something happened in their life. They either gain a lot of weight or get very sick, or girls divorced, guys divorced, women that get to the point that okay, I'm done taking care of everybody, I want to take care of myself. So they cross the border of getting ready, they're ready to change. And then they start their journey. They go to the gym by themselves, they do things by themselves, look at some YouTube videos, maybe hire a trainer, maybe join group fitness, maybe join some cycling. And then it doesn't work for them, they tried a couple of yo-yo diets, didn't work for them. And they finally started to look for the professional help. And that's when they started to research the trainers. And that's how I come to their radar, and they start joining me. So they already have that background of they're ready, they looked for it, and or they understand that they need professional help, and they look for the professional help. So basically, they come to me. With Chris, it was completely different. He was in an environment thinking that he doesn't need any help because he thought that he's looking good and he's feeling good, basing on what he was seeing in the mirror, right? And I took advantage of that. I took advantage of that and I challenged him on that, and I offered him let's do this project. So, but what we haven't realized is even though he was ready to do the project consciously, subconsciously he actually didn't go through this pain of going through research and doing things by himself, finding a trainer, sitting in a chair, explaining why he need me, right? And so that the whole process was skipped in this project. So during the whole process, we hit a couple of things him not following exactly what I'm saying, whether it's in a program or in a cardio protocol, or with a meal plan. But he wasn't doing it intentionally. He definitely wants to change, and he has been experiencing very great changes so far. He was doing it kind of on a subconscious level, and all of them were in one specific area. He would be stuck on a previous thing that we've done, and he would repeat it over the same thing. He reached out to the common things like running, and I stopped him. But he would come and do the same workout a couple of times in a row, and just same workout again. And this time, what we were experiencing, that's when I was bringing it up. He was supposed to moving on the program, but he stayed in the same day without like moving on into the program. So I started to go deep into all of this, and that's how I came up with all this understanding that the person needs to go through the pain of self-discovery and understanding that they need to do something about it, and that's when they become more receptive. We didn't have that experience with Chris, and we just took him out of this environment and put him into this environment and skipped the whole like, okay, I'm ready, I need you, please help process, right? So, but it was very interesting to actually dig into that and see, and like I think it just makes sense to see how the thing going to progress. Now that he understands like what the whole process is all about, I think you're going to be doing much better just to see, because you saw the changes now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wouldn't go over and repeat what Elena just explained, but yeah, there was in the beginning again. I just felt I was into it, a little hesitant until I started seeing the changes. That's when I'm like, oh yeah, but the psychology of why I think we sometimes get in our own way, and we discussed that earlier, because I kind of screwed up with the meal plan, and there was a part of me, because this is being documented, I felt I took on the burden of it, because in my head I'm like, oh my God, I screwed up, I could have been better, I should have been more lean, I should have been more cut, I should have been have a little bit more muscles, and that part of me kind of started really sticking in my mind. And when I came in today and we had a chat, Melina and I had a serious chat, what I realized was she asked me a question like, why didn't I do it? And my surface answer was, conscious answer that I felt, and the reason at the time that was sort of like primary in my mind was what was happening, because I messed up with the meal plan and I felt I should have been further. So I started analyzing myself. I'm like, my arms should be more muscular, or, my chest, and, I wouldn't use the word insecure, but I felt, I like the results of my stomach, a little bit of my arms, my legs, but my chest, I've always, felt like, oh, it could be bigger, it should be bigger. So what I did was I repeated when I should have called Elena and be like, hey, consult with her first. I didn't. So I took it upon myself because I felt like I had some shortcomings, which is my own fault, and I'm going to remedy it. And that was sort of a knee-jerk reaction. And when I came in today and we were having a little chat in her office, and she kind of dug a little bit deeper. Again, I was content with being like, consciously the reason why, because I felt it was, that was the preeminent sort of emotion at the time why I made the decision to repeat the week when I was supposed to be moving forward. And she asked again, what's going on? And after she asked that question, I realized, usually there's a little bit more beneath the surface. Look, I started thinking, and that's when I sort of realized that it was because of that thing that was lingering in my mind. But when she asked me initially, I told her what was the primary at the moment when I made the decision, which was about my chest. Yes, that was true. However, what prompted that, and what the real thing that made me feel that way, was the fact that I messed up earlier. And I wanted to remedy the situation, but I only gave the answer that I felt was the primary emotion at the time when I made the decision. So it's, and to be honest, you want to talk about the sleeping thing?
Yeah, hold on, I just want to go back to this. But then I ask you that again, and I start explaining my point of view on that. It goes even beyond that, because your meal plan wasn't the first thing that you have this thing when you're stuck in just one. Like you felt like, okay, it feels like this is what I've been doing and it feels good, and it seems like I'm doing all right. And the things like that how I feel, and it feels good, and I think I'm progressing, so I'm good enough, I'm there, right, in that spot. That's exactly where you were in that spot. It was in a spot before when we met, right? So basically you were subconsciously falling back into that spot even within the process of training. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So that's what I have experienced with it, because I have not worked with somebody who didn't find me. I always work with somebody who already found me, right?
Yes.
So, and that's why I think it makes made that's why you will keep falling into that safety spot, repeating the same thing, being in that spot.
But you did explain to me, remember,
Yeah,
you explained to me
yeah.
the process. So if I had that knowledge then,
Mm-hmm.
why then am I reverting? Is it a personality? Because it really
It's a subconscious. It lays very deep in a subconscious level because that's where you were up until your age. All this time, up until last 8 weeks, you were in that space.
Yeah.
To change that space and that habit of thinking, the habit of doing things, it takes more time than just 8 weeks. So what we're reshaping right now, it's not just your body, but also mentality and like how you address situation, how you find answers from within. And I think that was like, as I told you before, that was the best session ever because we actually found different ways to find it. Because when people get to me, they already have their motivation inside. I think, and that's what was stopping you from progressing, is we needed to find that core issue.
Okay. Yeah, I feel a little bit. And again, even when I sort of did not follow, I have to say this, I did not follow, or sometimes I would tell you, hey, I kind of would skim sometimes when I'm in the gym and I feel like it's hurting too much. I would cut back and you're like, no, just keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm here, I can't. Of course, you don't allow me to. So when, I give myself a license, of course, when I'm doing it my own, I'm like, oh man, this bench press is killing my pec. Like I'm feeling like I'm not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably, not go up on the weights or cut back on the reps or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I don't know, but I feel like in order to do this properly, you need to have a trainer present. Because to me, if when I'm left to my own
Let's say if
devices.
you was to take me out of equation right now,
Yeah.
and it's like Chris who decided, okay, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna do workouts. So I printed some workouts from online, right, and I'm gonna do this myself. How far do you think you would have gone by yourself?
Not this far. Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
There were times I would be like, the days, especially when I get up and I really don't want to go to the gym, I'm like, I'd rather just work on my script today or do something. And what I do, immediately I cut it off, because in the beginning I was struggling with that. I was like, oh man. And then you and I had a conversation, because I came in, I remember coming in a couple episodes ago, I was like, I couldn't, get to the gym because there was a scheduling situation, which is true. And you were like, you got to figure it out, just get it done. Because if you skip that, this is all for nothing. You have to. And so when I get that, especially when I get up and I sometimes feel like, I just want to have a lazy day, I just switch it off because I know it's in my mind. And I have to stay in the program. So I know I'm not the best client or student, if I may, but I'm trying.
There is no best or no best. So everybody have their own progress pace, right? Everybody's going to have it differently. You have it your way, taking you from environment of not being ever at the gym and thinking that you need it, putting you right on the spot with all of this feeling thing, right? Put you into a specific level at a totally different level. But when the people, even when people decide, okay, I need to change,
Yes.
they stickiness to the program also depend on how much they want it, how fast they want to progress, and everybody will find their own pace. Someone will go slower, someone will go faster. And it doesn't right or wrong. Everybody different in that sense. Everybody working through their own issues, internal, external, and somebody will just quickly change everything and compete and great. But for some it's lifetime change, depending when people come to me, what reasons brought them to me, and so same for you. You doing your best at the moment, meaning that you will be progressing in doing it better, following it better, understanding the process better, and it doesn't mean that you there's nothing wrong with you, you're like normal person like everybody else. It's just that's what you were ready to do, and you do giving your best. That's all it is. So there's no right and wrong. Now looking back, you now understand the process, and that's how we learn. That's a learning curve. It's a huge learning curve for you. You're gonna meet a new body like in the next what you have like 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks. You have never probably been on that kind of like shape before, right? Will it be the best form to what we have done so far? It will be. Will it be better? There is never ending process. All I know that if I'm working the same thing, doing the same routine, like consistently coming to the gym, consistently following my meal plan,
Yes.
I'm going to get better, progressively better results. So what you're going to experience in the first week, it's not going to make you into the supermodel that you're going to be fully 100% satisfied with, but it's going to show you what you can do. And then you can do better from that and better from that, and that's never going to end. So what I think is been happening is, like I told you, you have been, your genetic gift is to lift strong, to run fast, right? So you have not tapped into that genetic yet, because simply you have not fed your muscles properly, right? And you have not worked out. But now that you are doing it, I think what's happening, your muscles, because you're still full of testosterone, you're still you have producing testosterone levels, your body is ramping up into developing of the muscles, meaning that bringing tons of the mitochondria into the muscle cells. We are providing lots of chicken, which is nitrogen, which is energy to those cells. And I think simply because of all of this muscle development, you are not experiencing tiredness, so that's why the energy levels are so high, right? But the sleep pattern.
All day, that's
You probably you were decreasing in the muscle, and that's why you were feeling more tired and were able to go fall asleep. But now that we have all of these muscles all of a sudden working, we're lifting heavy weights, right? And they all working and they are demanding more work, and we're feeding it. They like constant batteries working all the time. So how can we address? I would not necessarily recommend go straight to melatonin. But there is tart cherries that could be the meditation. I ask you why you're not going, and you keep thinking, thought process, right? It keeps you awake as well, right? So meditation could help, and tart cherry, which is natural melatonin kind of in there, so you can try that thing. I think it will stabilize us one day, but I think but it is super important to, of course, at least lay in bed and be in bed. Also, older we get, actually more in tune we become with nature. And if you're not in bed by the sun when it's dark outside, right, you may somehow, override the process of falling asleep because of that.
But it
once the sun
before,
because you never ate that much chicken and you have never lifted heavy weights.
After today, I go home and I'm supposed, normally, let's say 5 months ago, 6 months ago, an hour of workout, an hour of jogging or riding my bike at night, done. I just like it.
But you didn't eat.
I eat the way I ate, but not eating the way I eat now.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference I can see.
Yeah, so now you're full of energy with all of these workouts that you're doing, and before you were normally go.
Yeah, I would just normal this.
Okay.
Why you're so excited?
From last weigh-ins, from 195 to 193.
Okay.
So another 2 pounds. From 11.9% to 9.8%.
Wait, what is that 9 point? What is that?
Body fat.
No way.
Okay.
When did I start? That's crazy.
Yeah, so from March 25th to April, basically last week, we did weigh-ins.
Yeah.
You were at the lowest, but you're still now at a very low, right? Your water went up from 57.9 to 59.7. Your muscle increased by 2.4 pounds from the last weigh-ins. You see it was saying 163, now 165.6. Your physical rate is now shown 9. 9 is the highest on my scale.
Really?
From 1 being the lowest, and you came at
No way.
You came at 2.
Yeah.
And I circled the 9, remember? Except when you were
Yeah,
9.
yeah.
This is the best thing on the scale.
No way.
Your metabolic age dropped to the lowest point on my scale, 12.
Oh
from
shit!
50.
No way! No, come on.
Your bone is stronger as well. From 8.4 to 8.6, it was 7.6.
Wow.
With that little amount of time that you've been training weightlifting,
Yeah.
you increase by a pound on your bone.
Those are all the benefits you get from just eating healthy and working out.
Working out, yeah. And your visceral fat now dropped to 5. We still need to get under 5 because 5 is a marker for the heart attack. Over 5. So now you're kind of basically out of the danger zone. You were in a big danger zone being at 12.
Wow.
Okay? So now you're at 5 and it's going to be lower. So you still have like some of it is lingering here.
Yeah.
This is a stubborn fat, right? So, but that is only meal plan and keep working at it.
Yeah.
And keep doing. But so far you're like at the great results. And we have 2 more weeks to go, right?
2 more
Like we
weeks.
finishing off the week 10.
Week 10 today is
Right now,
week 10.
today's,
Yeah.
we are in the week 10.
Wow.
And then 11 and 12, right?
Yeah.
Next 2 weeks, right? So hopefully this is gonna drop to like 4 or 3,
Mhm.
right? This is probably going to drop to about 8,
Wow.
I would think,
Mhm.
right? And this is gonna should stay the same. Yeah. This
When I
is
came in, my body fat, what was that? 25,
25.8.
and it's now 9.
Now it's 9, but like at the time we measured your 2 settings. We measured your
Yes, yes.
regular because you didn't work out,
Mhm.
and that's true. And we gave the athletic measurements as well as if you work out, and it shows
Yes.
us at 16.5. So even from 16.5 athletic to athletic, you drop from 16.5 to 9. You drop 7% in athletic settings.
In
But
athletic.
you knowing that you haven't worked out, we cannot really grant you this 16%.
If I didn't work
because
out
you
at
have
all.
not worked out.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's
I
why it was switched it, right? Because I lost
I
some
just
weight.
wanted to see you where you were, like at the beginning, as a reading on the scale.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, from like we can, if we go by average, let's say you're 20%, now you're at 9, you drop like good 10% of everything.
I feel it. I do feel it.
Yeah. I want to bring up the sleeping thing, right? Since last time we talked,
Yeah.
we mentioned that you're having trouble sleeping.
Yes.
So what did you do, and how did it affect you?
Well, going online a little bit. I went online because I was just like researching, like, you know, when you can't sleep, insomnia, why I can't sleep. I'm on a high protein diet. I was just typing in these things, and I also spoke to a friend of mine who's also she's a nutritionist, and she told me about the Epsom salt situation. She's like, take a bath before 2 hours before going to bed, and she also did suggest the blue light from the computer, because like, do you stay on your computer? I'm like, yeah, I use it until just before I go to bed. So I got some of those ideas from her, which was interesting, and I did it, and it worked. This very same night, it worked. I was able to go. The first night, I kind of had to still meditate a little bit and breathe a little bit, but I actually went to bed, and I woke up the next day, and I'm like, okay, all right, repeat again. So it's two days again. I repeated it yesterday. 2 hours before I went to bed, I programmed my phone and my computer to both things that I'm usually on, our devices, and from 9 o'clock to just switch. And the lights in my house, sometimes I would put it on bright lights. So what I do, I just put warm lights on. And last night again, went to bed. I woke up at 3, and I was like, but
What time did you go to bed?
I went to bed at 8:30.
Okay, so you went to bed, as I keep suggesting, early,
Yes, early.
right? Because the sun goes down, melatonin should be spiking up. So there's few things could be with your melatonin. It's either not producing or producing in a little amount, simply because the way that you were sleeping, you were overriding the production of melatonin because you were staying up so late,
Yes.
right? So now you went to bed with the melatonin production, and that, on top of everything else that you have done, helped you to sleep better.
Yeah.
That's a very cool experience too, right? It's such a learning curve.
I was surprised because it worked. It just worked. You know, the Epsom salt bath, turning the lights down, and just going to bed early. And I think I will get better at it. So.
Yeah, and waking up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, that's what I've been doing all this time.
What
So
am I going to do
everybody
with all those
sees you.
hours, though? You know what? I
You're an
edited.
idiot.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
And you're actually going to do so much more and faster, because when your brain slows down, you completely slow down. You do not notice it that you slow down.
No,
you
I know, I
work so
notice
much
it.
more faster in the morning.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden you have this
I'm
energy
alert.
and you
I'm alert. I'm alert, and I had energy, and I couldn't go back to bed, and I didn't try to force myself. So I had something to do, which was editing, and I just sat and I edit. Then I got up. Well, I didn't get up, but before I do anything, I had my psyllium husk, and then I took a walk, and it just felt really, really, really good. I think I'm gonna try working out earlier when I'm like hitting. I like working out early. It feels better. I think I don't know. It's like you said, when you wake up, you're at your optimum, right? So when you hit that gym, I did it a couple of times, and it feels really good. But sometimes I'm not really a morning person, so I'm like,
You were really never a morning person?
Never
but, yeah.
really a morning person.
But what does it tell you right now?
What does it tell me right now? I could be a morning person. That's what it's telling me. Because the thing is, because so many years, I've always believed I wasn't a morning person. I think I am a morning person. It's just because I went to bed late and I just practice being nocturnal. But when I get up in the morning, I actually feel good. It's just me wanting to just live the way I lived before, and I'm like, I don't want to get up. I want to just kind of ease into the day and stay up at night. But it feels really, really, really good. And I think I'm going to...
Cool, we're going to revisit that maybe next time we do weigh-ins and see if that continues to be the same way.
Okay, lovely.
Awesome. Okay, let's go work out.
Yes. Squeeze by that rotation. Breathe in, breathe out. Do not push into the knees, stay in the heels. Good job. Fast drop. Here and then you end up. Go up fast. Walk a bit faster.
In a sense, as you get better, it's just the long one.
So when you went to your class, make sure you stay in your heels. And make sure you do not stick your bum out when you stand.
Hi guys, so this is my 1 hour cardio. So this is last day of training for the day of week 10. Not the last day, it's just end of week 10. I'm going to be in the gym, hitting the gym over the weekend. And again, it's coming to a head with this project. And there were some little bumps along the way, as you would see. Going through this program, I had some serious doubts about me completing this project. And what I've learned so far is that we as human beings, we tend to live in our minds, right? We tend to doubt ourselves. We tend to, when faced with a little bit of adversity or something that's outside of our comfort range, we tend to balk and we tend to want to withdraw. And you know, I was there a couple of times, you know. The fact that this is being documented, the fact that this, I don't want to, you know, disappoint ever my coach. I don't want to ever disappoint Elena, because I see the work she put in, you know. But I can't believe we're here. 12 weeks, this is the 10th, and we're getting closer and closer. And I'm getting more excited because the results are just like, the results, man, it's beyond words at this point. I'm a little bit emotional because I was just talking to Yelena about this. It's almost 2 weeks left, you know, in this program, and it's just, I remember feeling so strongly against completing this project at times, and I didn't feel like doing it. Like, you know, why am I pushing myself like this? And the results did it for me. And again, I can't wait to embark on the journey. It hasn't ended, you know, even after the program is over in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing this. And I'm going to be hopefully, you know, motivating, inspiring a few of you guys out there. I've spoken to a few personal friends here in Vancouver about, you know, taking up a lifestyle, even if you don't want to get a trainer or you don't want to build muscles, but at least change your diet.